What's up, everybody out there? How you doing? Thank you for, well, hanging out with me. I want to thank you new viewers, you returning viewers, and you subscribers. I appreciate it so much. Thank you folks so much for the love. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for engaging in dialogue over here with me. I appreciate it. You all are definitely bringing up topics that I definitely want to discuss and have discussed time and time again. I was about to call it a day because I have a full day tomorrow, okay? But that's another story. And I'm talking about R&B divas, but overall in general, I like R&B music. I prefer the R&B music of the 1980s, maybe the latter part of the 1970s. Let's just say let's just say it this way: from 1976 all the way up to 1997. Let's just say that's my lane of music. And now that I'm discussing these R&B divas, and it's coming up, why did these divas not cross over? Some of them, like over into pop culture or pop audiences or white audiences or what have you. We can kind of put the blame on all kinds of things. Like we can go all the way back to, like a time in our country where, segregation, racism, discrimination, and all of those things were taking place. And then come all the way up to 2023, and I still think we'll still be saying the same thing over and over again. Don't tell me, I'm just saying, like, I'm not coming off aggressive at all. And I'm engaged. I'm looking forward to being engaged in a dialogue with you all about it. But it kind of bothers me when I hear people say that R&B music just doesn't sell. It's just what it is, and shout out to DT in the comment section because it did come up, but this is not the first time I've heard this, especially when I am in a conversation with other people along this line. And the comment that DT made is the same comment that this other person made. And that was, well, R&B music is just so expensive. You mean to tell me that these other producers, you mean to tell me that the white producers are not getting paid a whole lot of money? And from my understanding is that they're probably getting paid probably more to produce. I'm just saying, you don't think, and I'm just throwing out, you don't think that, okay, here's a scenario. I'm just saying. You remember back in the day when Toni Braxton was talking about her bankruptcy, her first one. I think she had more than one, allegedly. She was talking about her first bankruptcy, and she was talking about going out on tour, so on and so forth, blah, 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 and how much it cost her to go out on tour, to promote the record, so on and so forth. You don't think that it cost the Rolling Stones a lot of money to go on tour? I'm just saying. Oh, that's right. The Rolling Stones, they're going to get their money back and then some because, well, there are this white band that's popular and everybody's coming out to see them, like they're not going to be in the red. Is that the argument? Oh, so, and like I said, this is just something that I'm talking about. I ain't think much about it at all. I'm just, like I said, over here we're back and forth in the dialogue, so you let me know. So is that the argument, that they get their money back? Also, white bands and groups and singers, it's easy for them to recoup their money. Is that the argument then? And that when it comes to these black audience band group and singers, when it comes to them, oh, that's the part that's a lot of money then. It's a lot of money for that part to cross them over. So we don't want to deal with that because it's a lot of money to cross them over. because the white audiences, they're already accepted. And the black audiences, we have to cross them over. Oh, I understand. Black people are not buying music then. Oh, I get it. So I'm just saying, we're talking out loud. This is a wonderful discussion, really. Also, you mean to tell me a white band, or let's just say a white singer who goes to number one, let's just say on pop charts, on the pop charts, right? Number one on the pop charts, who sells 1 million copies, all right, of their record, is different than an R&B audience, or artist who goes number one on the R&B charts with their album, hovers around the pop top 40 and has a platinum album. Oh, but there's a difference. It's a difference. And see, I don't know. I have to look at the numbers to kind of get it out of my head. Is it possible for an R&B album to go pop? I mean, to sell 1 million copies on the R&B charts only? Has it occurred? I'm asking a question. Has it occurred where an R&B album went platinum and never went to the pop charts? If that's the case, if we have an R&B album, number one, 1 million seller, and we have a pop album, number one and 1 million seller, that says the same record company with the same price tag. So now we bring up, right? So now the question would be, okay, but that's yeah, it's number one on the R&B charts, and it's sold 1 million albums, but still that black artist would have to now still be marketed over to pop audiences and have success on the pop charts in order for people to say it's worthy. I'm just asking a question, like really, because I don't get it. I really and truly don't get it. You remember back in the day, I'm just saying, I'm talking about stuff out loud now, really, truly. I remember Patti LaBelle, when was this? Around the no, it was in the 2000s. It was in the 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. L.A. Reid was head of the record company. And you remember Patti LaBelle and L.A. Reid had this argument? Like yes. From my understanding, L.A. Reid and Patti LaBelle had a falling out. And the falling out was this. And, L.A. Reid being the executive he is, and, you can kind of understand him, for the most part, what it is. He wears the hat of an executive. So at the end of the day, I already told you, these executives don't think outside the box. I'm not saying they're not smart people, very smart people at the end of the day. But what they're not smart in is that they're not going to do anything different for the most part. They're not. And so if I understand correctly, L.A. Reid basically said to Patti LaBelle, a diva, an R&B diva, who has been very consistent on R&B charts, right? Who has sold 50 million records worldwide, 50 million records, well, let's say 50 million albums and singles worldwide, and basically said to her in so many terms, I'm not putting all that money into your projects when they are going to probably go gold and that's it. He said it. So now you have an artist like Patti LaBelle who has always talked about, I can get it. Celine Dion came along. I don't understand why Celine Dion's If You Ask Me To did well and my If You Ask Me To didn't do well, on the charts. I don't understand the difference. That's Patti LaBelle saying that. I mean, they had a falling out. And I think at this moment in time, it was some kind of special, if I'm not mistaken, Patti LaBelle was doing. And I think she ended up funding it herself. I think they kind of squashed everything, this, that, and the other. It's just my opinion is that I think when it came to popular opinion, Patti LaBelle pretty much was the one who came out the winner, so to speak, because you don't want to necessarily ruffle her fan base, if you will, because everybody is probably, side-eyeing you like, really? Yes, he said that to her. It's all in the publications. It's in publications and everything, yes. I can't remember what it was, but it was centered around an album and some kind of special she was trying to do. Yes, he did. Said that to her. Definitely. I don't get it. I really and truly just don't get it, but I do get it. There have been other research, and I just wanted to talk about this right now because I'm definitely going to, talk about this in another video for sure. There have been studies, research, think tanks about the fact that R&B music, and this is in the 70s, was going to eventually become the mainstream music, R&B music. Not rap, not hip hop, but R&B music. And to say that it's too expensive to make is really and truly a slap in the face to me. It really is. And I don't understand why it is that some people say some people make it and do well with it and some don't. I give you another prime example. Seriously, we're just throwing out examples. I never forget Angela Winbush. I told y'all gonna like her by the time I'm done over here. But she has said when she was producing, and even when she was producing for the Isley Brothers, she always got a lesser budget just because she was a female. And guess what? She helped them get hits. Yes, she did, with a lesser budget. Oh, you can do it, and you can do it with a lesser budget, then let's give you even less. I'm just saying that part, just tagging that part on. Do you understand what I'm saying? Oh, but then Missy Elliott comes along and she's cutting paper. Like they're definitely giving her this money, this, that, and the other. Oh, but that's different because I guess, people are going to say, well, Missy Elliott is a different kind of producer than Angela Winbush. So, these two just don't compare, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. Really? There's a reason why these logos are up here. It's not a mistake. There's a reason why. We all know the story of MTV for the most part. Look it up. MTV didn't want to play certain music, just didn't want to do it. Was not going to do it until a record company decided, well, all right, well, if you're not going to play Michael Jackson, if you're not going to play this, then the other of our artists, then I tell you what, we're going to pull the artists that are already being played on your radio stations. We're going to do that. We're going to pull them. Like just yank them off your, out of your rotation. Oh, well, I think we can play Michael Jackson now. I think we can do that right now. We can do that. And so as a result, we have artists such as Michael Jackson, Prince, Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson, those artists in the 80s who became popular on these stations because one record company said, well, you're going to play ours. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I don't buy it. And then I heard one producer say, and when I heard this producer say it, I just stopped liking this particular producer, a very popular producer, Black producer, basically said his intentions as he, was becoming a producer was to kill R&B music. Why? And I'm not necessarily going to say kill R&B music as far as what's the word I'm looking for? Or the statement. I'll put it this way. His preference of music is his preference of music. This black producer doesn't necessarily have to like R&B music. He can like whatever he wants to like. But I'm saying, but why that? Nobody's talking about doing away with pop music. No one is talking about doing away with rock and roll. But for whatever reason, we don't want R&B. And I find it very problematic now that I would have to believe that this research is definitely true. I would have to believe it because now in a very high profile executive in the music industry allegedly was a part of this research as well. I mean, y'all go do your research on your own. I'm not going to, go down that road again. So I'm finding it kind of interesting that of all the music we want to do away with, it's R&B music. We understand that these companies are focused on the bottom line. We understand it. I mean, you're in the business to make money. If you're not making money, it only makes sense. You might have to cut back on this, that, and the other. That's understood. Let's just call that good business. But overall, in general, to say, oh, we R&B, that's tired. We don't want it. It's tired. So if R&B is so tired, if the music R&B is so tired, if it's so tired, then why do we have white artists performing like they're R&B acts? Why? I just want to know. It's too expensive? Isn't the music? So I'm just saying, so when we have someone like a Justin Timberlake, who's all of a sudden Justin Timberlake, Robin Thicke. I'm just throwing names out. What's the other? Bruno Mars. That's R&B to me. Bruno Mars is known by what he's doing right now is what Mars Day and the Time did. It's nothing new. Oh, but it's expensive when Mars Day and the Time is trying to do it. But when Bruno Mars is doing it, oh man, it's bank here. You know what I'm saying? Like this is where it is. It's not. Get it. So if you came to me honestly and told me, just like MTV has a history of saying, we don't want it, then I get it. I say, okay, that's understandable. You just don't want it. I'd be like, okay. But then we have someone like BET. BET back in the day, right? Is doing all kinds of things in order to market, black music. It's black entertainment television. MTV, BET couldn't put on a program fast enough, and MTV is copying it. We saw it. 106 in Park. I don't even need to go down that road. I'm not going down that road with the. Yeah, no, that's just too much. But you get where I'm going. So what happened to R&B music? You wanted to do away with it. Let's just call it for what it is. You didn't want it. And when I say you, whoever it is, the public didn't want it. Let's just say allegedly you didn't want it. You didn't. That's what happened to R&B music. We have people in the business who we don't want that. And what I noticed, and this is the reason why I say I stopped listening to music in 1997. I can remember the albums I bought in 1997. I can remember. 1997, if I'm not mistaken, I purchased Patti LaBelle's Flame. I think I purchased In Vogue's EV3 and the Isley Brothers' Mission to Please. That was it. I was, no. You want me to tell you what I noticed in music at that moment in time? Those artists, the ones I just named, you were trying to get them and squeeze them out of music. It was very difficult for me to look for the legends, if you will, in the business, the R&B legends. It was very difficult to see them. But you want me to believe someone who purchased music. I'm talking about like I was, yes, I wasn't the typical person who just purchased music just to have it to be entertained. A lover of it, you know, who definitely did a little bit more than the average person when it came to music. I was definitely intrigued by it. So I looked at artists, I studied them. You know what I mean by studied them? I paid attention to, you know, how everything was set up, how it looked. So when the next artist came along, I was like, oh, I've seen that story before. I think I know where this is about to go. That way. And so then what was happening, and do the research, is there. So what was happening then is that the industry took the legendary singers and they pushed them into a category of music or a category of recording music. So now what the legends in the industry are doing, they're giving us these, either they're giving us greatest hits albums or they're doing these remake albums. So when a person like myself, if I was a fan of Denise Williams, you know, and she puts out an album of let's call it, you know, traditional R&B covers, you know, Denise Williams did it. Vesta did it. Who else did it? I think Meli'sa Morgan has done it. Who else? Phil Perry did it. In order to get those Grammys, Luther Vandross did it in the early 90s. A lot of them was doing that, recording that particular style of music. So a person such as myself, who likes these artists and like these songs, but I'm looking at it like, if you can give this R&B diva or this male singer a recording contract, right? And that recording contract is that you would give them the opportunity to let's just say, record, do a remake album. Why can't you just bring in other producers for them and record another, you know, album of new material? But you can push them out. It's not that they're no longer marketable. Talk about an insult. And so let's just say, for instance, someone like a Keith Sweat comes out with a new album. Then you put him in a category. Say, this is the category. This is it. This is who this is where we're pushing this to. Not even giving it the opportunity to go into what we would call, I guess, even the mainstream of R&B music, if you will. The traditional R&B stations, if there are any. Oh, Lord, y'all making me tired. But you take it and you copy it, you switch it up a little bit, and now you have gotten blatant and basically said, see, y'all doing too much. I can feel you pulling on me. You know, back in the day, when you would have to cross over a R&B artist, you would take the picture You would put a different picture on the cover, wouldn't you? You know, it wouldn't be that black artist on the cover. It would be just a cover of something. You know, it would be flowers. It would be, you know, an animal. It would be something, but it wouldn't be that artist who's singing that music, that black artist, right? So instead of doing that now and then crossing them over and then making the public like them, right? Now that has definitely become the real thing. Oh no, we are not going to put a different cover on the album. We're not going to have a black artist and their album cover, their picture's not on their album cover. Oh no, we're not going to do that anymore. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it exactly how we want it to be. We're going to get a white singer singing the R&B music now. Forget that. Whoa. Now forget that. We ain't gonna do that. And then going to tell the R&B artist, oh no, that music is old. What you mean the music is old? I see you on the stage singing I see you on the stage singing the music that I sing. Talk about gaslighting. Shame. They say, I don't know. You know, this is just reports. They say Gerald Levert left this world trying to get that hit. That's what they say. Gerald Levert. Gerald Levert, they say, I'm telling you now what the word is down the street, is that he left this world trying to get that hit again. That Casanova. Trying to get that hit again. Now, mind you, like this is just alleged, you know, but it came out of Gerald Levert's mouth. When it was time to call in the sessions players to come in, you know, to record his new material, they're looking at him like, Gerald, what's up? This is not normally what you pay us. It's like, yeah, man, I know. They're going to cut my budget. Gerald Levert said that. They're cutting my budget. I can't give you guys what I normally would have given you in the past. My budget's cut. I don't know. You just tell me. Let's just say that it is expensive producing R&B music. And when I say producer, I'm talking about the whole thing, the packaging, getting the singer, getting the image together, getting the right producers, the right musicians, packaging that thing, putting it together, and then going out promoting it. Let's say it is expensive. It's a good investment. You will get your return if you just promote it. But then you get someone who let's just say, okay, I'm going to do this on my own. I'm just throwing out a name. Let's just say, I can't think of anybody, but right now, like I can, but I'm not going to use them as examples. But let's just say you get an artist who, you know, hustle and bustle, get on their grind. You know, they're out there really doing the thing, promoting themselves, doing well. And they don't need you. I'm talking about the record companies and so on and so forth to do it. And then you come along and then you give them a bad deal. And then you tell them like, well, no. We ain't going to promote you over here. Do you see what I'm saying? And I could have continued to do what I was doing. Oh, yeah, but we're going to give you success. Yeah, but you're telling me right now it's R&B music, and you want me to do it this way now? Yeah, because we're gonna market you to a bigger audience. Yeah, I understand you're gonna market me to a bigger audience, but at the same time, you this is what I do. I do R&B music. Child. I'm just saying. I understand, but I just don't get it because I don't think this is me. I just really and truly don't think that it is like that at all when it comes to R&B music. I don't think that R&B music is a hard sale. I don't. I don't at all. And most people would try to make you think that it is. I just don't believe that it's a hard sale. And I don't know. I think I'm at the 30-minute mark and I don't want to go any further than this. So I'm going to come back to this. I promise you I'm coming back to this. And I really and truly do appreciate the dialogue. I do, and I'm not saying that I'm right, but I do know what I know. And I'm interested in knowing what you know. So that you know what you know and I know what I know. And when we get together and we know what we know, we'll know. You understand? Well, anyway, you guys, I appreciate you so much out there. I really truly do. That's what this is all about. Let's get into this dialogue. Let's talk about this thing. You understand what I'm saying? That's what it is. And don't forget over here, people of you, we believe in putting our behind where our hearts desires to be. You also remember that whenever I leave my mother's presence, she says to me, baby, remember, I love you. But do know that God loves you best. And on that note, I will see you next video. And until then, take care of yourselves out there.